Let's talk about sobriety. Let's talk about you and me. Hey, everyone. What's up? Welcome back to Recovering Out Loud, to another bite sized episode where today I'm going to be talking about emotional sobriety and why you should care about it and why it's important and what is it. Emotional sobriety is everything in recovery. Let's be honest. If I can't handle my emotions sober, I'm going to pick up drugs and alcohol again because that's what I did all the time. Felt uncomfortable, felt fear, felt shame, picked up drugs, went away. Sadness, happiness, picked up drugs and alcohol, went away. Whoa, my voice sounded weird there. So let's talk about it. So when I first came in, like a lot of people, I thought I just wanted to stop drinking and doing drugs. That's it. That was the problem. I don't need to listen to all this other stuff that you guys are talking about. That's great. I just want to get the heat off. How do I stop using meth? How do I stop using coke? How do I stop hating myself and breaking promises to myself? I keep saying that I'm not going to use and drink, and I keep believing it. But then every time I'm using and drinking, banging my head against the wall, wondering how the hell I got here again. So, as a lot of you probably know this, when you get sober, your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, your uncomfortability, it gets louder. All that shit that you used to drink over, it comes back tenfold, right? How do we deal with that? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about today. How do I not let my emotions turn me into the worst human ever? How do I not freak out on my family, right? Because I know when I first came in, I was living with my parents when I was 23, and everybody became my punching bag. Every time I felt uncomfortable, every time I felt anger, I took it out on my loved ones because they saw the real me. And I spent the most amount of time with them. So today I'm going to talk about what emotional sobriety actually is, why so many people relapse emotionally before they relapse physically, and what emotional sobriety looks like, what the growth path looks like. How do I know that I'm going in the right direction? We're going to touch all of that. It's not about being perfect, just progress, not perfection. What is emotional sobriety? Emotional sobriety is not being calm all the time, being zen. It's not about being positive all the time, being the happiest guy in the room. And it's definitely not about never getting triggered. Emotional sobriety is being able to feel, name, label your emotions without being controlled by them. So if I get angry at somebody in my life or the guy on the street that cuts me off, not turning into an angry person, watching the emotions sort of come and go, laughing at it, if you will, too. That helps me. Acknowledging it, not judging it. Oh, I'm doing that thing again. You're feeling your feelings without being controlled by them. You're responding instead of reacting. You're staying connected to your values, even when you're uncomfortable. A simple way to think of it is I can feel this. I don't need to escape it. I don't have to escape it. It's sort of like the analogy, I love this analogy, is it's like being this guy that can just watch trains go by at the station. Your thoughts are coming and going, your emotions are coming and going. You know that they're not going to park there for long, and you know that they're going to be there as long as you let them be there, park there. How can I just be an observer at a train station watching the trains go by? That's the goal here. Because at the end of the day, that brings happiness, contentment, peace, and I can be myself. I can be connected in that stage. It's important to note that addiction and alcoholism, drugs and alcohol didn't just numb pain, it also numbed all the other emotions: joy, frustration, fear, shame, boredom. So it's not just about pain. When we get sober, we don't suddenly become emotionally skilled adults. Right? Our problems don't go away. I'm sure you've realized that. If anything, they come out tenfold, like I talked about in the opening. When you quit drugs and alcohol, it's like someone comes in and turns the volume button up to 12 on your emotions and thoughts, right? You're not used to letting these thoughts and emotions come. You're used to escaping them. So when we get sober, we become emotionally awake adults, and that's uncomfortable. So physical sobriety versus emotional sobriety. Hard truth is you can be years sober, doing all the right things, and still emotionally unsafe to yourself and others. I've seen this in recovery meetings and spaces. The guy that has 30 years and he's yelling at everybody for not following the things that he agrees with or not agreeing with him, or he's losing it on the guy outside. You know, you see him all happy in the recovery meeting, and then you walk outside and he's complete asshole to people on the street, or he ignores, homeless people or whatever. I'm sure you've seen it before. Don't be that guy. And sure, everyone has a bad day, but the goal is progress, not perfection. Again, we are not saints. So physical sobriety asks, are you drinking or using? It's really that simple. Emotional sobriety asks, how do you handle disappointment, resentment, fear, rejection, uncertainty? Oh, what a good list. Disappointment, resentment, fear, uncertainty, rejection. If I can just get a handle on those and not let those run my life and my thought process and my behavior, wouldn't life just be great? This is a daily thing. You get it one day and then you wake up the next morning and it's back tenfold or 10 million times stronger. So I wrote down here, most relapses don't start with a drink. I would say that's wrong. I think all relapses start emotionally, start weeks before picking up a drink. I think we are consciously or subconsciously planning our relapse. At least that was my story, my experience. The second time I was more conscious of it, but I've been unconscious of those thoughts of, man, wouldn't it feel better if I just got back on ADHD medication? I bet I'd be happier. I'm pretty sad and bored. Remember how fun Adderall was and Vyvanse? And you can get away with it this time. It'll be different. You'll control it this time. You'll give the pills to your wife and ask her for what a crock of shit. Never worked. If you find yourself negotiating like that with yourself, you're headed down a dark path. Analyze it, be aware of it, talk about it. It may blow up in your face. So relapses start with emotional buildup, unprocessed feelings, old coping patterns waking back up, and relapse doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It happens often when we're not thinking about it, but it's a result of emotional overload. We can't handle all these feelings and energy patterns in our bodies and anxieties and fears and sadness and despair and boredom is fear, but I just can't handle it and I need to escape. And I know what's going to work again, but it'll be different this time. Drugs and alcohol. The biggest lie we tell ourselves. This time will be different. So a lot of us use substances to avoid conflict, quiet anxiety, escape shame, feel in control. That was a big one for me, feeling in control. When you take away those tools, that's the best solution to alcoholism. I always say this is alcohol, right? Otherwise we wouldn't have started it. Best solution to addiction is drugs. Otherwise we wouldn't have taken them. They worked for something. They allowed us to escape something that was uncomfortable or feel a certain way, or they allowed us to be in control of our feelings, whatever. It's different for everybody. For me, it was, I want to control my feelings. I don't want to feel this way. I want to be able to just escape this thought, this emotion, this fear. I don't like fear. I don't like ruminating. That's what drugs and alcohol did for me until they didn't. Now I'm left with, what do I do? You take away my solution. Now what? I need to find a spiritual solution. But that's not what we're talking about today. When those tools are gone, drugs and alcohol, we're left with low frustration tolerance, big reactions, black and white thinking, either 0 to 100, right? It's either terrible or it's really good. There's no in between. All or nothing emotions. And you might notice things like overthinking everything. So overanalyzing, overthinking, spinning stories in your head. It's going to be this way. This is going to happen. And then he's going to say this and I'm going to say this. And then we're going to fight and I'm going to win and I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to be an idiot. I might as well not even go. Taking things personally, feeling rejected easily, needing external validation from others or things, material items, and wanting relief now. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means your nervous system is relearning safety. Emotional sobriety is a skill, not a switch that you can flick on. Nobody becomes emotionally sober by willpower, by just trying really hard and flipping the switch. Discipline, right? You can't just gym bro your way into it. It's like everything in recovery, in sobriety. It takes practice and consistency. And it's not sexy. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's consistent effort, not perfect effort. Progress, not perfection. Practice looks like pausing instead of reacting, right? So taking a breath as your first answer. That's a practical tool I love. When somebody pisses you off or something happens and you want to just erupt, your first word should be, and maybe not that obvious. You don't need to breathe in someone's face and spew your fucking breath all over them. But your first word should be a breath. There should be no first thought wrong. I was always taught. Take a pause. It'll benefit you in all areas of your life. Naming what you're feeling. So, I'm doing that thing again. This is blank. This is fear. This is sadness. This is happy, joy, anger. Tolerating discomfort without escaping. So being comfortable in the uncomfortable. Learning that feelings rise and fall, just like trains at a train station. They're going to go through. This too shall pass, just not in my time. A big shift happens when you realize this feeling doesn't need to be fixed. Oh, I love that. There's nothing wrong with this feeling. There's nothing wrong with me. It just is happening right now. Anxiety is a favorite. I love analyzing anxiety when I get really nervous before I speak or before I do before I do a speaking engagement, speaking in front of a bunch of people or going to talk to somebody that makes me very nervous. I feel it in my stomach. It might be different for you, but I feel it in my stomach, the butterflies, the sort of pit, uncomfortable. Now, when that happens, I see it, I notice it, I put attention to it, I focus on it, and I just say, that's a pattern of energy moving through my body. That's it. Pattern of energy, and it's going to pass. And it works for me every time. I don't dwell on it and say I'm a bad person. Oh my God, I'm going to fuck up. I can't believe you're nervous. How can you be nervous for this? I get nervous before sharing in meetings sometimes of like 4 people. It just happens. Most emotional suffering comes from resisting feelings, judging feelings, like I just said, trying to control feelings, willing your way out of anger and into joy. I should be happy all the time. Biggest lie you'll ever tell yourself. No one is happy all the time. And if they are happy all the time, they're lying to you or they're snuffing their emotion down, or you just see them in the happy moments of their life and not the rest of their life. Trust me, you cannot be happy all the time. Emotional sobriety is I can sit with this even if it's uncomfortable. There's a difference between sitting with it and sitting in it. Sitting in it is self-pity. I'm a piece of shit. Ruminating thoughts, feeding the thoughts and gassing up the thoughts and letting them control your life and keep you stuck. I do that with the gym a lot. I don't want to go to the gym because it's uncomfortable. It's far. I don't like working out anymore. Then it spins into, oh, you're never going to go to the gym. Oh, maybe we'll just go tomorrow, or you're a piece of shit. You're going to get fat. All this bullshit. Analyze it, recognize it, move on. Action. Common signs you're not emotionally sober yet. I want to normalize this. So some signs you might still be growing in emotional sobriety. You shut down during conflict. Ooh, I do that sometimes. Yeah, you turn off, shut down, go quiet. You explode, then feel shame about it. Yelling at your wife, your husband, your partner, and then you feel like a piece of shit after. By the way, difference between guilt and shame. Guilt is I did something bad. Shame is I'm a bad person. You avoid difficult conversations. That's another good one for me too. I can do that. You catastrophize small problems, right? Making mountains out of molehill. Who does that here? I'm sure a lot of you do. I do that too. This is the worst. I'm never going to pay my mortgage. I might as well be homeless. I'm going to lose my house. I'm a piece of shit. I'm never going to get a job that I like. You know how it goes. You look outside for your relief. That is a big one for us. I use outside things to change my insides, full stop. So recovery isn't about deleting these patterns. It's about updating them, right? You just need to update your plan. We're unlearning. It's sort of like subtraction by addition, right? We're adding new patterns. We're not necessarily getting rid of these ones. I mean, we kind of are, but we're replacing them with new patterns instead of focusing on getting rid of these ones. So emotionally sober, what that actually looks like. It doesn't mean calm all the time, happy all the time, unbothered all the time. Impossible. You cannot be Zen all the time. Those people that you're hanging out with that are Zen all the time and happy, joyous, and free 24/7, hang out with them for a weekend. Go travel with them somewhere. You'll see the real side of them. Drive with them in traffic. It'll come out. Trust me. I went to Vegas one time for a sober conference. Fucking, oh man, these people turned into different animals when we had to pick a restaurant and we had to come together to travel and do the same. You could really see the alphas come out and the type A and type B people. Oh, it's hilarious. You want to find out anything about anyone, the true person, who they really are, go on vacation with them. So emotional sobriety looks like I'm triggered and I know why. I don't like this feeling, but I won't escape it. I can feel anger without becoming destructive. I can feel sadness without numbing it or escaping. Another thing I like to do is I like to ask myself, if I didn't feel this judgment, if I didn't feel this anger, what would I feel? It sounds really stupid and simple and like it wouldn't help, but try it. If I didn't feel this judgment towards this person driving this car, cutting me off, or not holding the elevator for that old lady, what would I feel? Insecurity? Fear? Emotionally sober people still struggle, still get overwhelmed, and still feel fear and all the feeling. Fear is a secondary emotion. Anger is fear's bodyguard. But they trust themselves to get through it without self-destruction. What a way to live. Trust the difference. All right, practical tools for emotional sobriety. 1, name the feeling. Instead of I'm spiraling, try I feel rejected. I feel overwhelmed. I feel unsafe. Naming it reduces its power. Label it. Don't judge it. Delay the reaction. 2, delay the reaction. You don't have to respond immediately. Take that breath, like I said. Your first word should be a breath. Maybe not that intense. You don't have to respond immediately. Space creates choice. 3, regulate before you reason. You can't think clearly when your nervous system is activated. I think it's, what's his name? Chicago Cubs guy, Bill Murray. Bill Murray says, there's nothing you can't do better, relaxed, more relaxed. I love that. There's nothing you can't do better when you're relaxed. 3 deep breaths. Ground, move, then decide. 4, separate feelings from facts. Ooh, this is a good one. I love this. Feelings are real. They're not reality. And they're not always accurate. And they don't also always give the best directions too in life. What's real here? What's me spinning a story, perception on said thing? Perception is everything. Practice 5, practice self-compassion. Talk to yourself like someone you're responsible for. Talk to yourself like you would an 8-year-old, not someone you're disappointed in. Okay. So again, name the feeling, delay the reaction, regulate before you reason, separate feelings from facts, practice self-compassion. In closing, emotional sobriety isn't about being perfect. We talked about progress. It's about being free. Trust me, this is a freeing place to be. And you don't just do it one day and then it's turned on for life. This is a daily, sometimes minute to minute practice. I find myself from time to time focusing on my breath, watching it come in through my nostrils, go into my stomach, and then back out again. Counting sometimes, meditating throughout the day, just being aware of my surroundings. Ground myself, ground yourself. This is about freedom from constant emotional chaos, reacting on impulse, needing escape to survive feelings. If you're sober and still struggling emotionally, I want you to hear this clearly, okay? Listen up. You're not doing recovery wrong. You're doing the deeper work. Physical sobriety keeps you alive. Emotional sobriety helps you actually live. It's a lifelong practice, not a finish line. I heard someone once say, sobriety and recovery is for marathon runners, not sprinters. You need to be a marathon runner in this life. One step at a time, 1 kilometer at a time, 1 mile at a time for my American friends, 1 day at a time. Thank you for listening. If you haven't followed the podcast or rated the podcast yet, please go and do so. It helps me immensely. Recovering Out Loud Pod on Instagram. I love you all. Send me a message if you want me to talk about something or just to say hi. Have a wonderful day. If no one's told you this yet, I love you.